Welcome to another episode of Peaks and Pieces. After 10 wonderful days at the Fredrock Glampground in Fredericktown, Missouri, it was time to head north to Grand Rapids, Michigan. In this episode, I will show you the annual American Quilter Society quilt show with a special tribute to Princess Diana. We will also tour the Public Museum of Grand Rapids, along with the President Ford Library, with the Sistine Chapel exhibit. Before leaving Michigan, I spent some time in Mackinaw City and on Mackinac Island. I'll show you a bit of that as well. Sit back with your favorite beverage and enjoy this fabulous trip through Michigan with me. Tucked away in the rolling hills of Missouri, I again confirmed my why. This special place answers the question of why I travel. Traveling isn't for everyone, but maybe you'll change your mind when you see Fredrock. It's just outside Fredericktown, Missouri. I had been looking forward to visiting since I heard of this campground 2 years ago on Bev's YouTube channel, Becoming Bev. I loved it so much, I made a separate video of our stay. I'll link to the video in the description below. Time flew by, though, as it normally does when you're having a nice time. The days of relaxing by the creek and getting some projects done were over. I will return, though, in a few weeks to spend some more time with Bev and Misty at their big party in September. But until then, I have some more exploring to do and a couple more shows to do in Michigan and Wisconsin. I had reservations for 7 nights at the Woodchip Campground in Byron Center, just outside of Grand Rapids. The park was big, and I walked it that night, listening to all the cicadas in the big trees and smelling the campfires. Tuesday was setup day for the big show downtown, and although they let you start unloading your booth at 8 a.m., I arrived at 9. Having never been to Grand Rapids before, it took me a while and a few laps around the narrow downtown streets to find where I was supposed to park. Normally it takes about 6 trips to get the 800 pounds of product and equipment to my booth, but they had some carts to borrow, so this time it only took 3 trips. Wednesday, the first day, was busy with 5 buses loaded with quilters from all over the area. Thursday I was told there were more, but I saw less people in the building. On Friday, I had time to take pictures of the quilts before the show started. I don't believe there were any buses on Saturday, so I had time to finish taking pictures of the rest of the quilts. I'm going to show you some of the quilts here, but if you want to see them all, I have a separate video that is already posted on my channel here. The link is below in the description.
That's what I think. I love that.
Here, look at let me use this.
On Saturday, the last day of the show, came the moms, the strollers, and a few grumpy husbands. They weren't all grumpy. The last show day is nearly always the slowest, and today was no different. But it gave me time to talk and take selfies with my fun customers. Here's just a few for you. I also had time to organize for the Madison, Wisconsin show, to do some small projects and visit with the vendors that dropped by. By 5 o'clock, I had nearly everything packed into the bins and ready to load up into Ranger once again. I was back at the campground by 7, and by 8 p.m., I was sitting out on my patio having a beer. Sunday, my last day in Grand Rapids, I chose to go to the Grand Rapids Public Museum and to the President Ford Library and Museum. I had a lot of sites to choose from, but these two were across the street from each other, and I only had about 6 hours to see them both. President Ford's library was really amazing. I now have much more respect for Ford than I had when I was a kid. I guess your perspective changes after 40 years, but I just remember the ridicule he received when he was president. He was a great man, and his wife Betty was just as incredible. It was a good day spent, and I'm grateful for experiencing every moment of it. The following are some pictures that I took that afternoon. Monday morning arrived and I was ready to hit the road for my next adventure, Mackinac Island in Upper Michigan. The route I was to take had me driving up the west coast of Michigan. Unfortunately, I didn't plan for enough time to see the beautiful coastline of Lake Michigan, but I did have 4 wonderful days in Mackinaw City. Mackinac Island has been on my bucket list for a few decades, so you can imagine how excited I was to spend the whole day on the island. I rode my e-bike into town and caught the ferry to the island in Lake Huron. The captain made a fun detour under the famous Mackinac Bridge, which was the longest suspension bridge in the world when it was built. It took about 20 minutes to get to the island, and when I got there, well, I soon understood why there were ferries coming and going all day, because there were thousands of people there. Apparently, the island receives up to 15,000 visitors a day.
Over 400 feet below the water surface. The road deck out at center span, which happens to be its highest point, is 210 feet above the water line. The bottom of the green superstructure being 155 feet above the water line, which is still more than enough room for the tallest ships on the Great Lakes to sail safely underneath. Construction did start here on the bridge in the spring of 1954. It was completed and open to traffic on November 1st, 1957. One calendar year ahead of schedule and over $1 million under budget. In 1957, at just over 5 miles long, she was the longest suspension bridge in the world. Today she does rank in at number 26 on that very same list. However, at over 2 miles longer than the Golden Gate in California, she is still the longest suspension bridge in the Western Hemisphere. Also, since 1957, she's become the official dividing line between Lakes Michigan and Huron. Right now we're in Lake Michigan, and as we cross back underneath, we re-enter Lake Huron. So when you go home today, you can tell everyone you've been in 2 of the Great Lakes. That's going to conclude our little detour here this morning, folks. We'll be finishing our turn to the island here. We'll be arriving at around about 12:15.
I explored the shops and got a map of the island so I could plan my walk. I wasn't allowed to bring my e-bike, as they had a rule about no motorized vehicles on the island, but it must have been some sort of guideline because there were e-bikes everywhere. I would have walked the island anyway, because I like to go slow and take in everything. As many of you know, I don't like to be in a hurry. Ever. So I walked. Here I am, walking up a mountain on Mackinac Island, Michigan. Didn't know there were mountains here. Very pretty though, very, very pretty. It's a long walk. I'm going to Fort Holmes and to see what there is to see. I was just at Arch Rock, as you can probably tell from the previous pictures. Anyway, I got bugs, lots of bugs, fucking big bugs. So, I'm gonna keep on going, and somewhere along here I'm gonna pass out. Not sure where. I walked about 7 miles around the island, stopping at the Arch Rock, both of the forts, the Grand Hotel, and the Somewhere in Time gazebo that Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour made famous in that incredible 1980 movie.
Is it you? Is it?
Yes. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm quite right.
I'm sorry if I startled you.
No, you didn't start.
I think I did.
I'll take you into dinner now.
May I speak to you, please?
I was tempted to take a carriage ride, but again, I wanted to walk and really experience this historic place. Everything was so beautiful and perfect. From the huge homes, the trails, the landscaping, the forts, the horses, the entire day. It has been described as walking onto a movie set, and that's very accurate. It's a romantic place, but also filled with great military history. I didn't go into the Grand Hotel. It was my last stop, and frankly I was so wore out. So all I wanted was some ice cream. I had lunch at a nice pub before hopping back on the ferry to Mackinaw City. It was all I hoped it would be, and more. I'm grateful that I get to see these incredible places. There is never enough time to see everything, but I'm okay with that. I like to leave a place or two to see for the next time I come. I took a lot of pictures, but not as many as I could have. One of my favorite movies, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, has a scene where Sean Penn describes why he doesn't take the photo of the snow leopard. That's how I feel sometimes. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. My next stop is Green Bay, Wisconsin. I will be going to the National Train Museum and Lambeau Field before arriving at the Great Wisconsin Quilt Show. I won't be taking any pictures of snow leopards there either, but you will see some legendary trains and many other things. I hope to see you soon.